4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. My name is Mike. I am your host. We're going to sit here and talk about some Wrestlemania 32 from last night. I have my buddy Jason here with me. How's it going, Jason?
I'm good. Ready to talk some Mania.
All right. So what did you think of the show last night as a whole?
I've been going back and forth on it, wondering am I just being a little too critical of it? But I'll say it was average, about a 5.5 out of a 10. Some really good moments, some moments that from the start of the actual main card to the end, it was 4 hours and 51 minutes. I just saw it on the network, so that's a little much.
Yeah, and that's not including pre-show, right?
Yeah, that's not including the 2-hour pre-show.
So it's almost 7 hours. That's really a lot to ask an audience.
Yeah, it was a marathon. Like we were talking earlier, personally off of here, it was a marathon, and I think a lot of people bowed out before the title match, which it may have been a good thing, or but I don't think it's just not a plus to go that long because you have people have to work in the morning, and it's just not a good thing.
Absolutely. I guess it's a trial and error thing, see what works, see what doesn't.
You're in your 32nd WrestleMania. If you're still doing trial and error, you're probably in the wrong.
Right. No, I mean with having a 4-hour show and a 2-hour pre-show.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of error in there, but
absolutely.
It's only once a year, so you can't really criticize them too much for going that long. And because of the network, you do have on demand where anybody can go back who subscribed. They can go back today and they can, view it at on their own time or whenever they feel like it,
Yeah.
And that works.
Yeah, especially if you miss something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This was the first match of the evening. This was on the pre-show. It was Kalisto versus Ryback. This was a decent match.
It was okay. I liked Kalisto's, what I'm going to call his Chupacabra mask that he wore over his actual mask.
Yes, that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought his ring attire, his pre-ring attire looked pretty good. It was pretty creative. Like it looked kind of like a wolf in a. I don't. It's hard to explain, but I'm just gonna call it the Chupacabra.
Well, I'll go with you on that then.
Okay.
But I wasn't. The match wasn't terrible, but it wasn't excited. It wasn't like, oh my god, what did I miss? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I just wish that with Kalisto with this U.S. title, if they're going to let him carry it, I wish they would put him in there with some better wrestlers so that they can have, intercontinental title type of matches.
Yeah, and basically not devalue the title.
Yeah, the finish I thought was okay. The exposed turnbuckle kind of knocked Ryback out, and then he hit him with his finisher to get the pin. I thought that worked because you had another factor in there, not just him hitting Ryback with his finisher. There was a little thing before it that could have possibly, knocked him out or threw him off. And they kind of made it look like Ryback was more stunned because he almost kicked out. In fact, after 3, he kind of did kick out, but the 3 count was already there.
Right.
So,
I actually feel bad for Kalisto because the build-up to this match was terrible, and I really didn't care, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, I mean, I share your opinion with that in that sense, but
and it's a shame because I really like Kalisto.
Yeah, he's a good little man. He's good, He would be the perfect kind of guy for that cruiserweight thing they're doing on the network.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll be in it. I don't know. I doubt it because he already has a roster spot and a title. So what would be the point to, kind of showcase him there when you can already showcase him on TV every single night you're on?
Yeah.
But yeah, the match was okay. It was good entertainment, for the pre-show. I thought it worked well. Like, I call that the pre-show because it was actually on the network. Then they went to USA after this. But I missed the match, so I had to go back and watch it today because I thought all three of the pre-show matches were going to be on USA Network.
Yeah, well, that's how they made it feel like, and then they kind of switched it up.
Yeah.
But you know how they do, because the Battle Royal was supposed to be on the pre-show, and then they put it on the main show.
Yeah, I wish it would have been on the pre-show, and I wish I would have missed it, but that's later.
Yeah. All right, next we had the 10-woman tag match with Paige's team, the Total Divas team, against... It was Team Bad and Blonde, if I remember.
Yeah. The teams were Brie, Paige, Natalia, Emma. Oh, no, not Emma. Eva, Marie, and I am missing someone in here. Alicia Fox?
Yes.
Yeah, against Naomi, Emma. Oh, Jesus. Lana.
Tamina.
And
Naomi.
And I already said Naomi.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know. I don't remember who the other girl was.
Rae.
Summer Rae. There you go.
Well, you know how we feel about this match if we can't even freaking tell you who's in it.
Well, my quick notes is I thought Lana didn't look too bad. I thought her kicks looked pretty good.
And I thought she sold well when she had to.
Yeah, she didn't look bad. Like, you can kind of see she's trained. She has experience. She has some, physical abilities, which maybe they'll start using her more. I don't know. I know there was speculation that she may have some kind of injury or some kind of health issue that's kept her out of the ring. But she didn't look bad. Paige and Natty doing the heart attack, Anvil and Bret Hart's old
that was
foundation
cool.
move. I really enjoyed seeing that. Which I'm a Natty fan, so from watching Total Divas with Candice, and by myself, I can't lie, I do watch it by myself. But Eva Marie, I actually watched her spots in this match again today, and she looks a lot better. You told me earlier she looked a lot better, so I had to go back and look. She runs the ropes much better. The flying head scissors she hit looked really good, and her snap suplexes didn't look bad at all.
And then the other move she did, that what I forget what the hell it's called, but it's like that where she grabs your head and goes up on the ropes and does a flip.
Yeah, it's Brian Kendrick's move, who obviously taught her that because that's who's training her. But yeah, it was good to see Brie get the win. That's what her final match, I guess. She's retired. Her mom posted on Instagram yesterday that's it for her. So I'm guessing, and I guess they have been saying it all along, but I didn't pay much attention to the stuff leading into that match. I mean,
and then Nikki came. That's why I'm assuming Nikki came out and they kind of hugged and did all that.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, it's cool to see Nikki. I didn't care for her much when she was Divas champion because she was a heel, but it sucks that she's not probably ever going to wrestle full time again, which is it's something that she and her sister love to do together. So that stinks, but it was good to see her, neck brace and all.
Yeah. Okay. Next we had the Dudley Boys versus the Usos.
Dude, the Usos, they use the super kick about 50 times per match, and it's boring, and it's old.
To be honest with you, it reminded me a lot of watching the Young Bucks.
Yeah, I know you've said that before. I'll go with that. The match wasn't anything special. The Dudleys, who built this whole match around being heels, were the faces. It was funny. They were actually the faces. They got cheered the whole match.
And then remember when they finally did the spot where they were had the fans Bubba's counting down 3, 2, 1, get the tables.
Yeah, get the tables. They played face last night, which I was like, okay, it's cool to see the Dudleys do that. I think it's hard for them to play the heel during that match because they were so good at inducting Jacqueline into the Hall of Fame the night before as faces. They came off really charming and everything. So I think they were kind of just you're in a pre-show match. Who cares? Just go out and play the crowd up because they were the final match before the 10, 15-minute run before the show went live before
You're right,
the
and
main card.
the Usos eventually beat them and put them through tables.
Put them through tables, yeah, and I kind of hope that whole stuff is done with them, that feud, because it's not interesting to me. I mean, some people might enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the Dudleys once in a while, but
the thing that made me laugh about that match was when Bubba got put through the table like split to one side, and he just kind of like laid there.
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, that match, and that finished up the pre-show, which wasn't that great.
Nah, it wasn't nothing special. All right, to kick off the main show, we had the seven-way ladder match for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, that one was. I got the names here. Do you want me to just go through them real quick? Kevin Owens, champion, defending the title. Sami Zayn, Zack Ryder, Stardust, The Miz, Sin Cara, and Dolph Ziggler were the 7.
Yeah, this was a really, really good match to open the show.
I agree. Honestly, my favorite match of the night was this match. I thought it got everything going. The excitement, the action, great spots. It's just a perfect match to set the tone for what I thought at the time was like, oh man, maybe this is going to be a great pay-per-view.
Yeah.
A great show, great WrestleMania. It was my favorite match of the night. Probably the best finish of the night. I'm not a Zack Ryder fan, but it was a nice moment. He's I guess you say he's paid his dues. He's fought for, another chance, another run, and maybe he'll get it. I seem to think he might lose the belt on Raw tonight that quick, but we'll see.
Well, that was his first Mania in I think 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and they pulled it off nice. His dad in the ring at the end. The match was great, though. I mean, it's when you get a 7-man ladder match, it's so much easier to have action because a couple guys can rest while 2 guys step up in the ring and take over the action. They can all take a big bump or a big spot because, they don't have to beat themselves up because they're 7 guys. And that to me is great because you're going to have a higher quality, a higher action match. And
there was 2 spots in particular. The one when Kevin Owens knocked Sin Cara off the ladder that he was onto Stardust, who was on another ladder that broke through.
Yeah, and I think Sin Cara actually had another big spot, didn't he? The springboard off of the ladder in the center of the ring. Yes. When the guy knocked it over, Sin Cara springboarded off the top ropes onto like 3 or 4 guys on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good spot too. But they was really a really good. They really went at it well for a while, and they got it off to an electric start to the show.
And the other thing that was interesting to me was how Zack Ryder won. You were like, wow, like that was a really interesting way to book that match. And you're like, well, maybe this is going to set a tone, and it sure as hell did.
Yeah, and I think, as a matter of fact, I think that's exactly what I messaged you with. Wow, like that was my exact response. I did not see Zack Ryder winning that title coming.
No,
at all. I thought Owens would retain, and I thought maybe Zayn would get the title, but I did not see Zack Ryder. I thought like Ryder and Sin Cara were the 2 guys that definitely would not win that belt last night.
And that was a big swerve.
Yeah, good way to do it. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Ryder fan so much, but I'm always for the underdog, and he was the underdog last night, and he pulled it off. Good, way to start it.
Okay, next we had AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I'll let you. You can go first on this one.
I was gonna say, this to me was a disappointing match, because I thought they had a much better match at Fastlane.
Yeah, I agree. Was it? Yeah, Fastlane is when they wrestled each other for that. Yeah, I agree. Wasn't their best match that they put together. Not at all. It got a little sloppy at times. Like, remember we even talked about earlier, I thought maybe that one code breaker he hit on him was supposed to be the finisher, but Jericho only got one leg in.
Yes.
To the code breaker, so he kicked out or whatever. They went back, they redid the spot, and then that finished it. I was shocked when Jericho won. I thought Styles was going over last night, and we wouldn't see much more Jericho. But hey, another surprise that I'm okay with. You know, I'm a fan of heel Jericho. I like heel Jericho at this point better than face Jericho. And I mean, Styles is still going to be over even if he loses that match. And maybe, you know, now they push him a little further in the payback or whatever. But I'm cool with it. It keeps me watching when they're on Raw. You know.
Yeah.
So it works for me.
I just don't know where they're going to go with Styles again unless they're going to have him fight like in a stipulation match or I'm just curious to see where they go with him.
That's possible. You could see like maybe a submission type match or something because they both have a submission hold with the Walls of Jericho and the Calf Crusher. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they book the two guys going forward. But I enjoyed the match. I thought it was probably the third best match of the night, behind another match later on and the Intercontinental title match in the ladder match.
Absolutely.
I thought it was probably the third best match of the night.
Okay. Next we had the New Day versus the League of Nations.
Yeah, the best entrance of the night, New Day.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't think they went too far over the top with it. Like there was like, oh, well, they're gonna ride in on unicorns, and from the start, I was like, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that one. But the big box of Bootios tipping over, Bootios pouring out, them coming out of it. Somebody told me, I don't really watch it, but they had on Xavier Woods had on a Dragon Ball Z type outfit.
Yes.
Yeah,
he had the hair too.
Yeah, the hair and everything. Yeah, I don't really know. I've ever watched Dragon Ball Z, but I thought that was cool because he's a big gamer and a big anime and a big all that kind. He's into that kind of stuff. The promo they cut was not too long, but it was decent. But yeah, League of Nations, of course, they're boring.
The match was not good.
It wasn't good, but I don't think it was terrible. It was your typical 3 versus 3 Freebird rules type of match, well, not Freebird rules because the Freebirds were 2.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I actually thought New Day was great the night before, too, at the Hall of Fame, inducting the Freebirds into the Hall of Fame. But
Big E actually had 2 botches in this match.
Yeah.
Where he went to try and shoot belly to belly Rusev over the top rope, and he only got him about halfway.
That's the third time him and Rusev have botched that belly to belly on television. They done it twice on Raw before last night at WrestleMania.
Wow.
So I don't know if maybe Rusev doesn't get himself up fast enough, or if Big E, because I don't think Big E's a strong guy. I don't think he has any problems lifting him, or maybe he just can't get a good grip on Rusev. I mean, he is a hairy, sweaty guy. So,
my
I don't know.
thing would be, if they botched it twice, why would you go back to it again?
I don't know. Like, the third time sometimes is not the charm.
And then there was the one when he went to do the dive outside of the ring, and he almost completely missed and landed on his head.
Yeah, speaking of a dive, that just reminded me from the Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn going through the ladder, through the ropes onto them was cool.
Yes.
I'll just throw that in there real quick, and then we can go right back to New Day. And
I was, and this was another finish that shocked me, that the League of Nations beat them.
Yeah, we talked about it again earlier. My opinion is it's not going to set the League of Nations back. They're going to go over tonight on Raw New Day. It's not going to set New Day back. I think they're going to go over tonight on Raw over League of Nations. They'll keep that going. Then you kind of forget about the New Day losing the match because of the big guys coming right out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because after the match, the League of Nations start talking about, we'll take any 3 down and all this and that. And then Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, and Stone Cold come out.
Yeah, and shut them up pretty quick.
Yes.
And, that whole commotion, you get the stunner, you get the Sacco, you get super kicks, you get New Day coming in trying to dance with Stone Cold and Stone Cold having none of it, which I'm thinking in my head, and I was telling Candace, Stone Cold's not a dancer. Xavier Woods is getting stunned, and it was cool. I'm a New Day fan, even though I'm a bigger Stone Cold fan, But
it was funny because Stone Cold acted like he was going to dance because he was doing whatever the hell he was doing, and then he just stunned him out of nowhere.
He was kind of doing his Carlton on the Fresh Prince show type of dance, I guess.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, as Stone Cold, you could tell, does not have rhythm at all, and it showed. But yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. I like seeing the big stars come back. You know, the guys who can get the big pop, and of course HBK
that saved that segment because the match was not very good.
Yeah, I agree. That's the time where they bring out something like that and kind of draw it out a little bit. That worked. Later on, I don't think it worked at all, but that did work in my opinion.
Yeah, at that point in the card, it did.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next we have, and this one I have a major gripe with, is Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose.
Most disappointing match of the evening.
Yes.
I don't know.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Ambrose. I have no idea. They kind of turned the match into an embarrassment for him, and I take very, 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 very large amounts of offense to that because the guy has been one of their bigger drawers lately, in my opinion. Like,
if you think about it, he's probably the top baby face that gets, overwhelmingly cheered more than Roman Reigns.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier, and I think you agree with me, that match reminded me of Lesnar against Reigns with no Money in the Bank run-in cash-in by Seth Rollins.
Yes.
And just some weapons thrown in. It was a big promo for Suplex City. That's all it was. I mean, they had a suplex counter in the arena last night, in the stadium last night. I'm just going through my notes to read what I said. Match, it ended very anticlimactic and weak. I don't know. It just seemed like, here's the finisher. It's over. Let's get him to the back.
And the other thing that I spoke to you about earlier was, it's like, I don't know if I want to call him lazy because you had mentioned that he's probably at his limit, and he probably is.
Yeah.
Lesnar, it's just like when you watch him fight now, it's just a suplex or a belly, a back suplex, and then a regular suplex, and then like a couple shoulders in the corner and like a knee lift, and that's about it.
Well, dude, when he got out of the ring and started to leave to go up the ramp, he was blown up. He bent over, breathing heavy. He was done. He looked slow through the whole match.
Because he doesn't do cardio.
Yeah, he looked blown up big time. I mean, you can go back. Anybody listens to this, go back, watch the very end of that match. Watch when Lesnar gets out of that ring, dude. He bent over right by where the opening of the ramp is by the ring and stood there for a little while, longer than you would expect. He was done. Unless he maybe got nicked up, a little injury or something, which I didn't see and that didn't look like it. He was done. Like, the guy just does not look like he has headlining or any, and maybe they knew. Maybe that's why they threw the match in there so early, because they kind of got the feeling like maybe this isn't going to go well. Because we know Ambrose can go.
Oh, God, I mean, he's in good shape, but it's like shockingly you don't like notice it. You know what I mean?
Well, he wears a shirt all the time too. So, but when you saw when he pulled his shirt off last night, Ambrose is in good shape.
Absolutely.
He's in good. He's the kind of built that protects itself too, because he's got just enough of that cover of his muscle to where he won't get hurt a lot. He can take bumps and stuff and not get hurt a lot. He's not Cena ripped, and of course, when you're Cena ripped, you hurt yourself like Cena does a lot. Ambrose doesn't have that, and it's good, because a guy like him shouldn't have it, or he'll be on the shelf every few months.
Right. Chris says in the chat that we have to remember, though, that Lesnar is limited to what he can do in the ring.
Well, yeah, he's definitely limited. I don't, like, talent-wise, I guess, too, and, backstage and everything. And he's been working a lot too. Like, his schedule is packed. I saw. We're not used to seeing this much Lesnar, I guess. And
we're only used to seeing him at, like, say, SummerSlam and the Rumble and Mania.
Yeah, but I switch it back to what I was saying a little bit earlier. I'm not sure what they're doing when they book Ambrose right now. I don't know. Like, it's confusing me. I like the guy. It seems like the bulk of the WWE universe likes the guy, but as my friend told me last night, it was like, he's the redheaded stepchild of the Shield at this point, and I'm definitely believing that to be true.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't agree with you more that this match was so disappointing, where it was almost like they tried to squash Ambrose like a bug.
Yeah, this match and the women's match were actually the women's championship match, which started as the Divas match, which was, we'll get into that. But they were like, in the Intercontinental title match, they were the three matches that if I would have bought a ticket, that's what I wanted to see. And the third match of those, the No Holds Barred, which came second on the card, but I thought that was going to be the later match of the three. The No Holds Barred street fight just totally disappointed me. And if I would have spent money on that card, I would have been very, very angry.
Oh, that's what I said at the end of the show last night. I would have wanted a refund.
Yeah, I would have wanted one, but you're not going to get it. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah.
Moving on, we have next on the card was Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha for the new women's championship.
Yeah. Fantastic looking belt, man. I love it. Like, some people might, a lot of people have already said it looks like the world title, the WWE Championship, and the Intercontinental belt mix, and I'm fine with that because I think that belt looks really good. It looks like a title belt, a championship belt, and not a novelty Divas title,
Yeah, like, and we've talked about this before. When I hear the word diva, I think of it in a negative way.
Divas, it's never been a good word, in my opinion, to describe a woman wrestler. There's divas and then there's women wrestlers. A diva would be like, Sunny was a diva. She was a diva. The three women in this match are female women wrestlers.
They're the farthest thing from a diva you would find.
Yeah, they're competitors, Sasha has a little bit of diva tendencies to her, but that's more of use the word flair, which is funny, I guess. But that's more of like this, she's good. She puts her brand out there well,
and that's more of her character.
Yeah, that's why the fans love her. But they're all three really good women's wrestlers, and they proved it last night again.
Absolutely. Chris says in the chat they may as well have called this match the Ric Flair ego match rather than just letting the women wrestle.
It goes right back to what we've talked about, dude. Ric Flair ruins another great women's match.
And did you see that awful spot he took where Becky landed on him and he kind of like awkwardly fell?
Well, he landed on top of her? Yeah. Yeah, I told Candace, I said, man, I think Becky got the worst of that in real life, not in because if you look, Rick landed on top of her, and Rick isn't the smallest of guys anymore.
Well, like, I thought she was hurt because she was like kind of flexing her wrist or shaking it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple things, though, that I wrote down here just so I'll remember to get them in. It was a good match, questionable finish, as you know. I was disappointed that Becky didn't get anything special in her entrance. Like, they really did nothing out of the norm for her. A little extra smoke because they have the bigger ramp and, stage. But it kind of disappointed me. Like, I like Becky. I'm a Becky fan. I'm a Sasha fan. I like all three of them. I prefer Charlotte without Rick, as you know. We've talked about that many a times. But, that kind of, Sasha got the biggest pop of them. When Snoop was rapping and she came out, the crowd got way louder than for him rapping.
Yeah.
It was my second favorite match of the night behind the Intercontinental title match.
I agree with you about the Becky thing where it's almost, and it's funny that I say this, that she was like the redheaded stepchild in this match.
Yeah, she kind of was. I mean, Becky can wrestle. Like, she has technical wrestling ability.
She's phenomenal.
And I think it's good to have them do the three-way match, the triple threat, because it keeps them fresher and it gives them some extra spots and it makes them go a little longer as well, which I think is key for the women, because I'm not saying women are physically less superior than men, but because those WWE men are just cardioed out, they can go longer,
Yeah.
But the thing that I loved is the Divas division is gone. They verified and brought like a lot of validity to the women's division now with the new belt, and even having the women's champion on the Today Show this morning, I think it was,
yes,
is awesome. Even though I wish it would have been either Becky or Sasha, but that's awesome to me that the women's champion got to appear with the world champion, with the WWE champion.
Them as almost equals.
Well, to a point. I mean, it's good. I guess Triple H is winning the backstage battle with getting the women showcased more and getting them more recognition and getting them a higher spot and everything. Hopefully they'll start getting higher pay too, because they do draw a lot of fans, man. Like when we go to the events, there are a ton of Becky and Sasha shirts and Bella shirts, and it's almost to the point where if you were to put them up against, because a lot of kids, especially younger girls, are going to love these women, And it's good, but we're kind of going off on a whole nother thing there. I'll let you take back over.
I was going to say, and I really like Charlotte's heel character.
If it was just her,
no, I don't mean Rick. I just mean her.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only thing that was kind of weird last night that I didn't like was like when she would be in trouble or something, and or she got like a near fall, she'd hear her yell like "Dad," and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I think it's been past the time to break those two up and let Charlotte kind of go on her own. But what are you going to do? If they want that bloodline to be shown off, and it was shown off last night.
Basically, we didn't mention this. It was really cool how they had her come out in one of Rick's old robes.
Yeah, was it Mania 24?
The one in Orlando.
In Florida? I thought it was Miami.
Or Miami, I'm mistaken.
Yeah, it was his final match, actually. His WrestleMania match against Taker, right? Was it Taker? The retirement match.
Shawn Michaels,
yes, I'm sorry. Shawn Michaels, yeah. So, yeah, that was cool. It was actually his robe made into a robe for her, and basically his old entrance, too, with, like, the sparkler stuff behind her and stuff. Really cool to see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was probably like 1 and 1A to me, my favorite match of the night.
I'll put it at 2. I think the Intercontinental title match was more exciting and a little better. I
understand.
Yeah, but it's cool. Yeah, it's cool that you valued the match like I did too. It's great.
And the thing was, I was really looking forward to it, and I thought they delivered.
I agree. Yeah, you're right there. Great point.
Yeah. All right. Next we had Undertaker versus Shane. Oh man, this was terrible.
I don't know if I'll say terrible. It wasn't great. They both looked tired and old.
That's what I mean. It was just like if I was a fan and I paid money to see this, after sitting through everything that Mania has gone on, I would have probably fallen asleep.
Yeah, it just like Taker has like the 15-minute entrance. Like Candice was like, I'm going to the bathroom. I was like, oh yeah. She was like, this is the perfect time to go. I'm going.
Yeah, that's what I told my friends that were here. I said, if you gotta go take a piss or get something to eat, do it now. Taker's gonna take like 15 minutes to get to the ring.
Yeah. Oh man. It just like, yeah. I agree, 100%. Like I can't even add to it.
The other thing that really annoyed me with this match was they were treating Shane almost like he was this crazy good superstar, because he kicks out of the last ride, he kicks out of a choke slam onto the steps, and then he gets out of Hell's Gate.
Yeah, Chris just posted that they announced that this morning that Shane was taken to a local medical facility after his loss at WrestleMania, and fans have seen him walking around Dallas today fine. So. Yeah,
it was from what I read it was just part of the angle.
Yeah, it was just part of the angle. Yeah, which in my opinion was it took too much more time Yeah, he just put however Shane's been spotted looking and looked to be fine in Dallas. Yeah, he just threw it in there too. Yeah. The whole putting him on the stretcher thing, that was like another almost 10 minutes, you know? Yeah. And that's why it was a 5-hour pay-per-view.
And the other thing that was funny to me, I don't know if you saw it, because I rewatched it, when Shane did the jump off the cell. Now, how far up do you think that is? About 40 feet?
No, it's about 20 something, right?
I'm not sure. That's why I was asking.
Maybe 20 plus. It's not 40. There's no way. It's maybe it is. I don't know. We'll go with 40. That's fine.
Anyway, when I rewatched it, when he fell, they had a big bladder cushion underneath the table.
Yeah. I told you, we talked about it earlier. That table was a special table.
Yeah.
Because if you looked, the announce tables that they broke earlier, I think, who broke them earlier? I don't remember. Was it or later? There's more announce tables. The other ones were basically, no, Taker and Shane broke one before that. Remember, what was it? Taker, he DDT Taker through it or something off of that little platform they had built by the crowd.
Yeah.
That one broke. This one collapsed because it was so... I'm talking about the jump off the cage, off the cell. This one collapsed because it was so thick and cushioned that they couldn't break it. Yeah, they broke the German announce table. There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just noticed it because I rewatched it and I was like, it looked like he fell on a pillow.
He did, basically.
It, and when he fell, you saw it kind of roll out.
Well, there was all the talk, too, leading in it. They practiced that spot numerous times before last night, you know.
Oh, I have to believe they did.
Yeah, well, that was the big rumor all over the internet, is that they practiced it numerous times leading up to it. And I'm pretty sure they probably brought in, you know, the safest way they can make it look good and still have him not get hurt. I mean, there's always mishaps, you know, with Owen Hart that showed in the past, you know.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, but Mick Foley's fall off the cell was way better,
because he actually did a flip.
Yeah, it was way more dangerous. He fell and basically, I mean, I'm shocked Mick Foley didn't get seriously injured by that. He was thrown off of it, which I guess it makes Shane look even crazier because he risked his own body to get the big spot. And what I was going to say,
he overjumped it.
Yeah, and we were talking about it too. Candice was like, you know, Undertaker moved, and I was like, he better move, because if you want to get someone hurt, let a guy come down 40 feet on you like that, and somebody's getting hurt.
Exactly, yeah, that was my point. Chris said, there was no cushion when Mick did it either.
Yeah, that's my point. He just crashed through a booth, like a regular, you know, probably half-inch to an inch thick, maybe less than a half-inch, probably thick wood, you know.
And if you remember when he did that, he bounced.
Mm-hmm.
He hit
so hard that his tooth
the concrete.
Yeah, he hit so hard that his tooth flew out of his mouth into his nostril.
I remember that.
Yeah, so Shane McMahon, I give him all the credit in the world for doing the jump, you know, on his own like he did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew the jump was coming too. I told Candice it was coming because they cut out holes for his hands and his shoes to go up the cell.
Yeah.
If you looked at it, there was holes cut perfectly. And when he was going into the cage, the cell, they turned it around. That one side of the cell was already broken down. I told a couple people that they cut, that it was already, because he didn't use those bolt cutters for real. When you cut a bolt with bolt cutters like that, it makes a loud popping noise.
Yeah, like a ping.
Yeah, well, it's more of like, it's hard to explain.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was obviously all set up. But yeah, the match to me just wasn't that good at all. It was boring at a lot of points. They tried to just make it a big spot match.
To me, for as much as they hyped it up, it didn't deliver.
I agree. It didn't deliver. And I'm actually glad now that it wasn't the main event of WrestleMania.
And who would have ever thought you would have said that?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to put on a really great match, but like we stated earlier, they're just kind of like, and I'm not making fun of them, they're just old and slow.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are you gonna do when you have a almost 50-year-old guy in there? Taker's like 50, right?
50. He just turned 51.
Yeah, and he's got miles on his body. I mean, a lot of miles. And you have Shane, who hasn't been in a wrestling ring in a competitive way for how long? And
Probably
he's what,
almost a
40?
decade.
He's 46, right?
And
45?
yeah, and he probably hasn't wrestled in 10 years or close to it.
See, the thing with me is I think that they're asking too much of the guys. So I'm not going to insult them and say they suck.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. I think at that point you're asking too much of the two guys to go in there.
Like the situation they put them in, they were like doomed to fail. You know what I mean?
They were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
And Chris said he's 46.
Yeah, he's that's what I thought. 46 years old. Yeah. He hasn't wrestled since 2008 or 2009. Yeah, so about 7 or 8 years out of a ring. It's not good. Like it's rough to want that much out of a guy and to build that matchup as much as they did.
Well, and remember, we had heard lots of rumors that Triple H was not happy about this, and he thought that Shane and couldn't pull it off. And no disrespect to Shane, Triple H was right.
Yeah, I think Triple H was on to something there, and I think it's just like that's. I think that's what really hurt Mania, dude. Is two of your matches that you build as being huge matches, the street fight and then this one, just did not. They didn't
deliver.
Yeah, they weren't booked very well, I guess you would say, with Ambrose basically being beat down and made to look, like he had to have a weapon to do anything against Brock, and Brock is superhuman. He's the beast, and yeah, but we already got into that. But yeah, the Hell in a Cell was probably one of my least favorite, largely built Hell in a Cell matches they've ever done.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like the crowd was dead.
Yeah, it doesn't live up to the original Hell in a Cell matches. Like the first, the
one with Shawn is always a classic to me.
Yeah, and Foley, Mankind, and Taker, anywhere in that league.
Here's something interesting Chris wrote, and who will ultimately take the fall for these failures, the writers, or who is going to fall on their knife for Vince?
I don't think anybody's taking the fall. I think at this point they don't care.
It is business as usual.
Yeah, I think that their writers are firmly planted into their positions and their jobs are safe. The network is doing well for WWE. Ticket sales are still there. They're still selling merch. Ratings at this point in this day and age are they're just not important anymore. Digital media is taking over.
I was just going to say that because Vince figures as long as they're subscribers to the network and they're buying merch and coming to house shows, I don't care.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, other than ratings, everything else is in full gear going. Like, it's all working. I was just
going to say that. The only thing that's down is ratings. Everything else is up.
Yeah, as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't know the business end of it like that. But when we go to these events, dude, the merch tables are flooded with people. Like, you have to wait sometimes 15 to 20 minutes to get to the merch table. When we went to Raw in Philly, we walked in the door. The merchandise booth table thing, the line for that was longer to get in the door when the door opened on the side we were in. Because people were flocking to it to buy stuff. And then when they sell there, shirts are $10 more. They're $35 there. They're $25 on the site. So they're making more money in the arenas, and it's working, man. Like the unicorn horns are selling. The New Day, they're selling empty Bootios boxes for $5 a pop. And I saw at least 20 to 30 people just walking by me that night with the boxes. They're $5 a pop. They probably cost 35 cents to make. It's all profit,
Yeah, so they're making hand over fist.
Yeah, the money is still there, in my opinion. The ratings may not be. We'll see, because they're going to get a huge ratings bump tonight with Raw.
Everybody watches Raw the night after Mania.
Yes, everybody. Like, I don't care how bad Mania was. I'm watching Raw tonight.
Well, like me and you discussed this earlier. You kind of have to watch Raw the night after Mania to see how they kind of, because Mania and the Raw after kind of go hand in hand.
No, Chris, at the arena they sell empty boxes for $5, and you buy the shirt separate. They don't have them all ready prepackaged at the arena.
Yeah, they're separate at the arena.
Yeah, at the arena they're sold separately, so you can get a $5 little box, to shut little Tommy up or whatever. Or if you want to spend 3 hours of your paycheck on your kid, you can buy him a shirt and a box together for $40 at the arena.
Hey, that's why you got to shop on WWE Shop.
Yeah. Buy one, get one free shirts today, so you can get your Bootio shirt and another one for free.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, they should pay us for this, actually. I just sold a shirt.
I'm waiting on my royalties check.
Yeah. You want to move on now?
Yeah, we'll move on. The next one was pointless to me, was the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Dude, it should have been on the pre-show. I hate Baron Corbin. You know my opinion of him.
I don't stand him either.
I think the guy has been brutal in NXT lately. Like, he was used almost as the heel guy to get over the number one contenders matches down there.
I called him the jobber to the stars. Yeah,
he's a heel jobber, basically, is what he is. And, dude, I don't get it. Like, is he up now? Like, what's going on?
There's rumors that he's going to stay up now. You had me laughing earlier about how they would put him with Anderson and Gallows.
Yeah, that was just a joke, obviously, how Gallows and Anderson are going to come in tonight with him, and it's going to be the Baron Club instead of Balor. Like, we're going to get slapped in the face, kicked in the balls, whatever you want to call.
Nothing would shock me with these writers.
No. Yeah, he said that Battle Royal was so pointless. The rumors are that Shaq wants a one-on-one with Big Show and that they used the Battle Royal to set that up with. He rolls his eyes. Yeah, I agree. Roll your eyes is a little less than what I would do. Yeah, Damian Sandow was the biggest guy over in that Battle Royal last night.
He was in there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, Damian Sandow got the biggest pop. When he does like one move, he gets his pop from the crowd and he gets eliminated. But yeah, it wasn't very good. It was cool seeing DDP. I guess I've always liked DDP.
It was just strange because they had more surprise people than the Rumble did.
Yeah, Tatanka. I don't know, man.
I was just like, wow. I was like, well, that's 10 or 15 minutes of my life I can't get back.
Yeah. I don't even really want to do any more time on the Battle Royal. If you don't.
Yeah, all right. Moving on, we had The Rock come out and announce the official attendance, which was almost 102,000.
Which I read today was actually a lie. They didn't hit over 94,000 last night.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They hit like 93. I read and some
change. They broke the record, but they didn't go over 94. I think.
Yeah, well, I've read that they've always marked it up between 10 and 15,000.
Yeah, and according to a lot of tweets and stuff I've read, about 75,000 of that 94 only saw the whole thing. Like 20,000 of the people didn't get into the arena till late.
Wow.
And I think it was Ambrose's sister didn't get in till late, and she may have missed his match.
Yes, you told me this story.
Yeah, my friend was telling me about that, and I guess she was not very happy, as I would not be very happy if I came to see my brother at Mania and didn't get to see him.
Yeah, but maybe she might have been better off considering how terrible the match was.
Yeah, true, but I mean...
But I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, The Rock, the other thing that was a time filler, not really a filler, but it just took so long, The Rock with his blowtorch type thing and lights his name up and...
His enormous vibrator that he carried that spit fire, I guess, because it looked weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then, he's doing his thing, announces the attendance, and then out of nowhere, the Wyatt family comes out.
Yeah, first thing, though, Rock recycled his WrestleMania 30 jokes about Rock babies or WrestleMania babies, whatever. Totally recycled almost his whole thing from that WrestleMania. The lighting his name on fire thing, it was dumb to me. it was just big self-promotion.
And it was like they were already dragging a long show even longer.
Yeah, like you said, Wyatt's come out. He put Bray over pretty well. Like, I thought that he talked Bray up really well, and then,
because I heard a lot of people saying he buried him. I was actually 50-50 on that, where, like you just said, he really pumped him up to the crowd, and the crowd actually was, like, starting to go, like, cheering and, and whatever.
Yeah, I really, really liked Bray's get-up last night. His, butcher apron thing or whatever it was with the faces on it. It kind of reminded me of, like, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre mixed with the Evil Dead Necronomicon or whatever book. It looked like a blend of those two to me, and I thought it looked cool. Bray's getting in really good shape, man. I saw a side shot of him last night, and from Husky Harris, that old gimmick, to now, the guy is lost like a lot of weight, and he's really getting in good shape. And I think if they start letting him go and building him up more, his matches could possibly be even better now because he's in better physical, shape. His cardio has to be better because when you're carrying 40 or 50 pounds less, I mean, we would know because we both lost weight.
Yeah.
Your cardio gets better,
Absolutely, and you would have to think it would help the issues he's been having with his back.
Yeah, and I got to point something out that you said earlier that I thought was spot on. The 6-second Rock versus Rowan match, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that the thing that does the most is it erases Daniel Bryan's and Sheamus, that loss he had to Sheamus.
Yeah.
That was 10 seconds or something?
Yeah, 12 seconds, something
12 seconds? That. Yeah, I think that you may have nailed that one. And I guess in Rowan, you're getting a good WrestleMania check. You might as well take the quick beat down.
Hey, plus you're going to be in there with The Rock and take his finisher. That's probably, you're never going to get any higher.
Oh, he had his WrestleMania moment, Rowan. Nice guy, by the way.
I like Eric Rowan, but he's never probably going to ever get anywhere near that again.
We went to Trenton and saw him. We saw WWE in Trenton a couple weekends ago. Waited outside. We've become big fans again. I'm really into wrestling again. Rowan was the only wrestler that stopped to sign and take pictures or anything with the crowd outside. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I give him a huge amount of credit for that. He was the only one. When we were out there, actually, earlier in the day, they said a bunch of guys stopped. Stardust, Goldust, they all stopped and everything. But Rowan was the only one after the show who stopped. So,
well, props to him.
Yeah, so I'll give the guy that big credit. He may not be in a lot of people's eyes, they don't see that. So he's a nice guy.
Right. So what happens is The Rock beats Eric Rowan in 6 seconds, and then the Wyatts circle the ring like they're going to come after Rocky, and who shows up? Mr. John Cena.
Yes, it becomes karaoke hour at WrestleMania because the fans get to, do their John Cena sucks song. And
there you go.
Cena, Cena's okay, I guess. I mean, he's been there for a long time. You can't blame him for the way he's been booked. No. He's made a lot of money. You can't deny that, and I don't care for him. I don't think he's a very good wrestler, but the guy does a lot of out of the ring stuff. I watch Total Divas. I think he's an asshole personally, but he's good with kids. Yeah, he said Cena conducting the
I saw
stuff.
that.
I saw it. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, but that segment, he gets the save for The Rock.
And Bray takes a spine buster into people's elbow. So that had to be kind of cool, even though he got beat down.
Yeah, well, Bray's had some big WrestleMania moments already. I mean, he's wrestled The Undertaker at Mania, Cena at Mania, right? So he's already had a moment
with The Rock. So that's pretty cool for your first 3 Manias.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm hoping, though, coming out of tonight, like I said, I kind of wish they would break him off from the Wyatt family. Like,
I'm
just
wondering
having
if they're going to, because remember we had talked about this where after Rowan got beat, he slapped
the shit out of Rowan, yeah. Maybe we'll see. Raw maybe will give us a little bit more insight into what's going to happen there. But yeah, that segment was a big time filler. I thought maybe they should have just kicked the show off with that, or maybe right after the Intercontinental match they should have done that. But I don't know. I guess maybe during that whole thing they were maybe getting Triple H's stuff ready up on the ramp or for the main event.
That's very possible.
Yeah, because I know
because he killed a ton of time.
Yeah, so we'll see what, and the cheerleaders were there, and
Yeah, that was just like, wow, really? Like they were really dragging out the end of Mania, which brings us to the main event, which was Triple H versus Roman Reigns for the heavyweight championship. The one thing I did like, I really thought Triple H's entrance was cool.
Yeah, Stephanie came up there with her Spike dominatrix looking outfit, I guess you would say, call it or whatever. Stephanie looks good.
Zombie looking people.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the skull head guys that look like Hunter carrying the belts down behind him and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, they were cool looking. I thought they were cool. They kind of reminded me of like a Ghost Rider, but without the flames on his head. I was like, yeah, that was pretty interesting. Triple H is going to get his big entrance at Mania.
Did you see when he almost fell?
No, I missed that, but I'm going to write that down and go back and check it out, though.
He was like getting ready to come out, and he like slipped for a split second.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
That's interesting. Chris said, and that's true. They could have been NXT guys.
Oh yeah, they probably were, because remember Hunter's entrance at 30 against Daniel Bryan? It was Sasha, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte were the women that were up on and took his shoulder thing or whatever off. That was the three women they had do it for him that night.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, so maybe it could have been a bunch of NXT guys that, hey, they're getting paid for it. More power to them. They get a WrestleMania experience. You don't know who they are, but when they do the behind-the-scenes thing, we probably will find out. Like the WWE 24 behind-the-scenes thing.
I'm a big fan of that series.
Yeah, me too. I love it. I love the Daniel Bryan one that just came on. The Thank You Daniel one. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It might make you cry, but
But it's really interesting to see how, the inner workings.
Yes, definitely.
About this match, it was just kind of blah. Yeah,
it was too long. It just wasn't a very good match. Like, Roman Reigns isn't a good wrestler. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. The guy does not have wrestling ability.
And the thing was, I was expecting Hunter to have a better performance after the really good matches he had with Ambrose at Roadblock and then at Ziggler at Raw a few weeks ago. But then it made me realize that maybe it's because those guys really worked with him.
Well, they're good wrestlers, and Reigns just isn't. Like, Reigns has been in the WWE now for how many years?
I'd say probably 5.
4 or 5. I guess that's all right, that's good enough. That's good enough answer for me. Why hasn't the guy developed into any kind of wrestler yet? I mean, we talked about it earlier. Eva Marie looked a lot better, in my opinion. She has learned. Why hasn't Roman Reigns learned wrestling moves yet? Or, just increased his ability just a little bit.
Yeah. He's been with them since, I'm hitting up the Google machine. July 2010.
Yeah, and you know what gets back to me, dude, too, is that if CM Punk would have had his way, we probably would not be seeing Roman Reigns right now. Because if you listen to his interview with Colt Cabana, if I can speak English, remember he said that the Shield was his idea. I'm not saying it's true. That was his words. But he wanted to be Ambrose, Rollins, and Chris Hero, right?
Yes.
And they replaced Hero with Reigns because they loved Roman Reigns so much. So if CM Punk would have had his way, there's a good possibility Roman Reigns, we would not be seeing Roman Reigns. So I'm very upset that CM Punk didn't get his way.
I laugh because I always remember about that interview where when he would wrestle the Shield, you got to make Roman look really strong.
Yeah, come on, man. What do you do? How do you like? I think I counted a total of 8 spears and Superman punches last night.
Yeah.
Total. Yeah.
And then he did the clothesline thing in the corner.
Yeah, he does the same 4 things every match, and then he gets beat up the rest of the time. And that's all it was.
And remember, he did I actually thought Triple H got hurt, where he did the spear and they broke through into the crowd.
Yeah, that was a little bit before the swinging neckbreaker off of the announce table, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought Triple H's head bounced off the concrete.
It might have. You never know. Triple H has been known to work hurt, man. I mean, the torn quad and finished the match, so maybe he did get banged up. But
yeah, Chris says that's why he calls Reigns Cena Jr.
That's who he is, dude. It's perfect. He's the Samoan Cena. That's who he is. It makes no sense that why this guy is shoved down our throats like he is, but he's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion now, so what are we going to do?
I said, and I've mentioned this to a lot of people, that the way they built him up I didn't like, where if he would have probably got a secondary title first and kind of ran with that, and they slowly built him up as opposed to just pushing him right to the moon, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. He doesn't have enough ability, in my opinion, to carry any belt. Like, you can't give him the Intercontinental belt because the Intercontinental division is built on wrestling. You have to be a good wrestler, in my opinion. Like, these guys have to have good matches, or you might as well just erase, take them off of TV. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, the other thing about this match I wanted to give props to is Stephanie for taking a wicked spear.
Yeah, she took a good spear, man. Stephanie is a good actress when she does what she does. I can't stand it, which means she's doing her job. And she'll get in there and mix it up a little bit and take a bump. Like, she's done it plenty of times in the past.
And that looked like a wicked bump.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm hoping maybe tonight we might see Reigns like stripped of the belt. Maybe they'll dick with him a little bit more. He speared Stephanie, so they have to like strip him and suspend him or something. Or
Chris says here in the chat, this is a good point. He says they've had 2 years to build him up to be the man by now, Mike, give or take. He said that should have been long enough to prove if he can sink or swim, and he's the fucking Titanic.
Well, I agree with that, except for I don't think he's the Titanic. The Titanic made it pretty far before it sunk. The Titanic actually did go pretty far before it sunk. Reigns hasn't gone that far. Reigns is the boat that you get into the river and you turn the engine on and the engine falls off and it starts sinking. That's Reigns. Like he's barely left shore.
I wanted to tell you, I saw the Triple H. I don't know if you saw this. I've read the rumors. He put up something on Twitter in like Latin, and when they translated it, it was like all hope is gone.
Yeah, I mean.
And then, if I remember correctly, then Samoa Joe replied to it and said something in like Latin too that meant like I'm trying to remember exactly how it was worded. Like, you tried heaven, now I'm going to send you to hell.
Yeah, well, the all hope is gone thing with the Latin and stuff could just be his character, we're not there anymore, the authority lost its power, so it's going to be like mayhem now. Like, Reigns is, that could all be a character thing.
Hey, I was just wondering with Joe sending a message back to him if that meant he was coming up tonight.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like we were talking about Raw tonight. You want to talk about Raw for a few minutes? Just
we can.
Kind of do a preview, because you kind of can't now because it's in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But going into Raw tonight, I expect there to be at least a few surprises, like maybe a couple NXT. I read Enzo, Cass, and Carmella maybe coming up really soon. And the results we were talking about earlier when we were out walking and stuff, I read the results for like the next 4 NXT shows that they recorded at the Access this weekend, and Finn Balor did not appear from what I read.
Right.
So maybe tonight is his debut night. They said Gallows and Anderson are in Dallas as of yesterday.
Right. The other thing I read was the rumor is Apollo Crews is coming up tonight.
Yeah, man, he's an athlete, but that's all he is.
I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that I don't know. Like he's
I'm not knocking Apollo Crews. The problem I see that he really needs to work on is his promo skills.
Yeah, I don't think there's any saving his lack of promo ability. I think he's Roman Reigns on the mic. So, and
here's something that Chris Brown says. Here's a thought: some sort of Samoan dynasty of Samoa Joe, Reigns, and the Usos to go up against Triple H. Let the clusterfuck nightmares begin.
I hope not. I pray for Samoa Joe that they don't throw him in there. The guy is skilled, man. He's tough too. I mean, that NXT main event the other night, he was busted nice early. Like they butted heads, and a lot of people were bitching about them stopping that match at times. I know you said it slowed down the momentum, but you have to because if the blood.
Why?
Yeah, if the blood gets in his eye, he's working blind, and he could hurt your possible future of the company and Finn Balor, and he could hurt himself too. Yeah. But with Raw tonight, do you have any predictions or anything? Like, do you have anything you think might happen?
I'm gonna say Bray dumps the family and goes solo.
I'm thinking we might see one of the belts change hands, either the women's championship or the Intercontinental title.
I could see that.
And I also think New Day goes over big tonight to rebound from last night.
That was just awful.
Yeah, maybe a couple debuts tonight.
Well, the last thing I had read was Vince wanted this show to have us one surprise every hour.
So maybe 3. So maybe a title change is 1, and then maybe a couple debuts.
Yeah, it's possible. I always love this show because you never know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah, see, I don't expect you have to The Undertaker and Lesnar probably won't be there, right? That's another thing. I want to see what they do with Ambrose tonight. I want to see where they go with Ambrose because what do you do with
how do you
him?
recover from that? Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping they just have a little bit of a out of sight, out of mind type of deal. Like, since it's over and
it never happened.
Yeah, Lesnar's going to be gone. Maybe they'll just go right back into pushing Ambrose and throwing him into something. Maybe I don't know.
Chris says here with Shane, fine. I'm expecting him to return and find some way of working back into the power structure.
Yeah. See, the only thing with that though is they said that he was in the hospital. So in the storyline right now, he's not fine. And the fans were the ones that saw him. So I don't know. I don't expect to see Shane tonight. I expect Vince, like we were debating earlier, will Vince come out and cut the "you're dead to me now" promo, "you're a failure, you embarrassed your children, and you failed in front of them," or will Vince come out tonight and cut the "I forgive my son, he went back to where he should be" and everything promo? I'm torn between which promo we'll see, because I expect Vince to open the show. You do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but we'll see. So, we're less than 3 hours till Raw. I hope it's a good Raw. Like I said earlier to you, Raw is an extension of Mania. So if Raw is really good tonight, I'll bump Mania up a point or a half a point and say it's a little better.
It might even out how bad Mania was.
Yeah, see, Mania was, I said, a 5.5 out of a 10. I think that's fair. Chris, if you're still listening, post your... What number out of 10 do you think Mania was, if you don't mind?
I was going to say, I had it a 4 or a 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'll go with the 5.5. I thought there was a few good matches. I thought there was a few decent things that they threw in there. There was your Mania moments, like Shane jumping off the cage is going to be one, even though, Foley did it better. But I don't think it was altogether terrible. I had some jokes last night. I tweeted, I said, if they really wanted to commit to make Raw or Mania the worst it's ever been, they should have had Flo Rida perform that shitty song.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Chris said he gives it a 6.5 because my only issues were the Taker Shane match and the ending of the title match.
Yeah. So he didn't have any issues with the Ambrose and Lesnar match?
That's what I'm understanding.
Okay. I mean, hey, 6.5 out of 10 still isn't great. It's still just above average, I guess. But
yeah, we talked about. I want to see where they go with Styles, with Ambrose, with Wyatt. Christ, even Owens. Where they go with Kevin Owens after he lost?
Yeah, with the Intercontinental Belt, what do you do with it? But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Raw tonight, and we'll see where they go into Payback. Double pay-per-view next month, May 1st, Payback, May 22nd, Extreme Rules. So they got to kick it into gear quick.
That would be interesting. Chris says he doesn't have an issue with the Ambrose match as much because he expects him to come out and snap on somebody tonight.
Yeah, that works. See, that's the extension of Mania right there. If they do that, then I'll pull back a little bit on saying how bad I think they shit on Ambrose last night.
Like where he's really is the lunatic and just kind of goes nuts on people.
Yeah, like they say, what do they call him? The lunatic fringe? Yeah. Like he's on the he's not quite. Maybe just make him the lunatic now. Yeah. Instead of having him be a fringe lunatic, let's just push him all the way over. Yeah, let's just have him maybe attack some guys backstage tonight, or hey, I'm for it, dude, because I think it'll put him over even more.
Absolutely. I mean, you heard the huge pop he got.
Yeah, he said he's the second coming of Brian Pillman. I'm all for that. The loose cannon, Yeah. Make him like a full-on lunatic loose cannon. Just, I don't want to see him pull a gun on anybody. It's not the Attitude Era anymore, but...
Yeah, we can't do that. Hey, we're not going to get no cursing anymore now that Mania's over.
Yeah. But, yeah.
We're going back to suffering succotash promos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. But, yeah, go ahead.
It's just interesting to see where they're going to go with Raw, so you can finally kind of give a final mark on Mania. But as of this moment, it was pretty lackluster.
Yeah, and I want to ask Chris one more question. How has it sounded today? Have we sounded pretty good? Because Mike sounds good on my end.
Sounds still staticky.
We'll pause for a dramatic pause for his answer.
Yeah, like they do on Dora the Explorer, where they wait for you to answer.
Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I guess it's just because my son and everything, I know about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, while we're waiting, if anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, it's at A Geek of Nature, AGeekofNature, A Geek of Nature. You can tell me how bad I suck, or hey, if you like it, tell me that. Whatever.
Speak your mind.
I still hear some static. If you guys re-listen to it, I'm sure you'd hear it. It could also be my speakers. I'll have to check. All right. Well, if it was...
When the show's done, I'll re-listen and see how it sounds.
All right, well...
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. We're going to be performing double duty tomorrow. There's going to be an MLB preview show around noonish Eastern time tomorrow, and then I'm going to be doing a Raw review most likely around 8 o'clock Eastern. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.